Life by Divine with Sue Dumais fosters deep healing and profound awakenings as she guides you to hear, answer, and trust the highest calling of your heart. Your host and sacred guide is global impact visionary leader Sue Dumais, a best-selling author, international speaker, and gifted intuitive healer who challenges all of us to shift from life by default or even life by design to truly living life by divine. And now, here is Sue Dumais.
Welcome to the show. I'm really deeply grateful to have this opportunity to come into your life, to land in your heart, and to share the message today. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different in that I really feel inspired to just allow whatever message that needs to come through. So I have no idea what this episode will be about. I have no idea of the topic. All I know is that what I was inspired to do is just channel a healing for humanity and a blessing for all of humanity and our planet. There's a lot happening in the world as we look around. There is a lot of chaos, a lot of darkness, a lot of density, a lot of fear. There's a lot of things happening around us that can be perceived as things getting worse. And I've talked about this before. Things are rising up to the surface for healing. Everything that has been hidden is coming into the light of awareness, and it's in our face. And as humans, in our humanness, it's challenging. It touches our heart deeply. It impacts our lives significantly. And I know that the events of the last week or so have impacted a lot of people. But these events are happening all the time, everywhere. Sometimes we get news of them and sometimes we don't. There's a real call right now for all of us to rise up and meet this collective fear with love. So how do we do that? How do we do that when we're standing here in our humanness, impacted at such a deep level with the events that are going on around us? Today I'm going to allow the message to come through, the message that all of humanity needs to hear, the message that you need to hear, the message that I need to hear. My intention today is just to be the channel, the clearest possible channel for whatever message we all need at this time. And to allow a healing energy to infuse my words, to infuse this episode, to infuse this moment. And my prayer is that it lands in the hearts of those it's meant to land, and that it expands outward into the world, creating a ripple effect that will be felt in all corners of the globe. The world needs all of us to stand up inside of ourselves and choose love. What humanity needs is for all of us to process our own fear and our own darkness, our own shadows, our own density, all of our leftovers, so that we can stand up and be a clear channel for love. In order to do that, we need to face some of the shadows we haven't been wanting to face. We need to look in the dark corners, clear out all the dust bunnies, and really take a good, radical, honest look at our lives, look at our minds, and clear the leftovers for ourselves. If we want to see more love in the world, we need to clear all of our own blocks to love, so that we can be that beacon of light for others, so that we can stand in that light and illuminate the path for others. There is one huge, massive call for love right now happening. And those that are resisting it are lashing out, are projecting all of their pain, all of the suffering, all of their anger, all of their unexpressed and unhealed emotions are being projected outward, projected onto people that are different than them, people that have different practices than them, people that they don't understand. When we have unexpressed emotions, when we have unhealed wounds, when we have our own internal pain, fear, and density that we haven't processed, that we aren't willing to look at, that we are resisting looking at, we project. That's what humans do. We project. The ego loves to use projection to try and make us feel better. The challenge is we only feel better temporarily. It's a temporary relief. And then guilt sinks in. And then we feel bad again. And in an attempt to feel better, we project blame and judgment on others. We feel better temporarily, and then we feel guilty. And then we feel bad. And the cycle of projection, judgment, and blame continues. The only way to break that cycle is to make a conscious choice to go inward, take back all of our projections, all of our judgments, all of the blame, bring them back into ourselves because they're ours. We own them. Take ownership, take responsibility, and heal our own stuff. When we do that, we can then look upon the world, we can observe, we can be present, we can be loving. But as long as we're projecting blame and guilt out onto others, we will never truly heal. So today I'm going to take you through a process. I'm going to encourage you to let go of all distractions if you can. You can always come back and listen to this again. Devote the time and space for this. Carve out a sacred space right now for you to heal and for you to extend love to all of humanity. This is not only a gift for you, it's a gift for all of humanity. This is a message for you and a message for all of humanity. The healing energy that I'm extending right now is for you and all of humanity and our planet. Take a deep breath in and let the breath fall out of your mouth. And as you exhale, set an intention to be here now. To be here with me in this moment without distraction. Say yes to the potential. Say yes to the healing. Say yes to receive the blessing. Say yes to heal whatever needs to heal, whatever needs to rise. Say yes to feel whatever emotions you're meant to feel. Create space, allow. Just say yes. Start with that. But be here now with me. The call for love right now is extreme. It's the highest it's ever been. And the projection of fear, the projection of blame, coming in the form of hatred and violence, it is very evident. But the more we meet that fear, that projection, that hate, that violence with our own fears, we allow fear to expand. When we can meet it with gentle observation, when we can meet it with love and see it as a call for love, then love expands. Now, it doesn't mean that we sit back and do nothing. It doesn't mean that we just sprinkle everything with love. Sometimes love means we stand up and say no. Sometimes love shows up as a boundary. Sometimes love shows up as a fierce warrior standing in front of others and holding back, creating a beautiful force of love that repels the fear. Sometimes it's us standing up inside of ourselves and saying, no, not okay, not happening for me, not in my world. As much as we can look around and find the evidence of violence and hatred, we can look around and find the evidence of love. We can also find people standing up and standing strong in their conviction. There are people that are feeling causes in their heart that they're meant to stand up for. And they're creating big waves, not ripples. They're creating massive waves. Take a look at Greta Thunberg from Sweden. She started out with her own striking on a Friday from school, skipping school to stand and sit in front of Parliament to take a stand for climate change. She did that for over a year. And this past Friday, children in schools all across the globe missed school purposefully and marched in their own cities to take a stand for climate change. The power of one heart yes sparked all of that. The power of one calling created a massive wave of support all across the globe in over 125 countries. Millions of people, youth, standing up. There's some powerful shifts happening on the planet right now. And there's powerful shifts happening inside of you. There's a calling deep in your heart that is begging you, urging you, encouraging you. And I want to invite you to listen, to hear it, and to answer it. Take a moment to just bring your awareness inward and really feel what it is inside of you that needs to heal. What have you been avoiding? What have you been afraid to feel? What have you been denying? You see, the thing that happens when we have tragedy that happens in the world is a lot of people believe it breaks their heart. And in a way that's true, it is heartbreaking, but it's heartbreaking open. I really wish we didn't need to learn how to love in the face of tragedy. I wish that we could all learn the easy way. But unfortunately, as humans, most of us need to learn the hard way. Most of us need to have things in our face where we can't ignore them, we can't deny them, we can't turn the other cheek and pretend it's not happening. I wish we didn't need to learn that way. But until that changes, let's not let all of this chaos go to waste. Let's take these moments, let's take these events, let's bring them into our heart and really let us express and feel all the emotions that are rising up in our humanness. As a light worker, as a healer, I do a lot of work behind the scenes. So I show up for my community, I show up for the calls, I work with my clients, I run a business, I do this radio show. There's a lot of things I do in the world. But the real work, the real heart work that has the greatest impact is the work I do in between. The work I do on myself, the clearing, the healing, the exploring, the reflecting, the journeying down into my mind, into the subconscious mind, to clear my ego, to witness and identify and shine light on all the ways that I'm blocking love. I do that 24/7. In every moment, if I have a trigger, in any moment that I feel impacted by what's happening in the world, I'm willing to feel it. I'm willing to look inward. I'm willing to create some space to allow my humanness to have the expression, and at the same time, open up space for my divinity. There's so many people living life by default right now. It's still, let's say, 70 to 80% of the population. I would like it to be less, but I feel like it's probably a little bit more. They're asleep at the wheel. They don't understand the emotions that are rising. They don't understand the density that's rising up for healing. They don't understand how to process their own wounds, their own pain, their own collective suffering. And they certainly don't know how to process everything that's coming at them and in so many directions. Messages of fear, messages and encouragement of violence, and messages and encouragement of separation. Those people that are living life by default do not know how to process this, do not know how to move through life. It's changed. The game has changed. What used to work is no longer working. What used to stay hidden is now out in the open. There's big, massive light being shone down on all of us and all our density and all our leftovers, and there's no more hiding. And that's creating a lot of resistance and a lot of pain for people. So, in one way, I have great empathy and compassion. And my calling to all who are still asleep. And my prayer is that they wake up. That they wake up now. For those of us that are living life by design or life by divine, our work now is not only in our internal world, our internal environment, to clear all of our own blocks to love, to continue to process all of our own feelings and emotions around everything that's happening around us, to allow ourselves to be in our humanness and honor our humanness and the experiences that we're having. And at the same time, create space for our divinity so that we can embody our divinity, so that we can stand in love, so that we can stand in certainty, so that we can stand in clarity and willingness to play the part that we're meant to play right now. All of us are being called to step it up. I've certainly felt that myself. As I'm here still in Turks and Caicos, I've had this space to do a lot of deep healing and clear a lot of leftovers for myself. Leftovers I didn't realize I had. And at the same time, there's a real collective energy that's moving through me, and I'm doing a lot of healing on behalf of humanity. So I'm feeling a lot of the collective feminine, the collective masculine energies rising, and I'm doing a lot of intentional work to support humanity that way. That's just part of what my gift entails. That's just part of the role I'm meant to play right now. And the more I say yes to it, the more it happens. And I'm just, basically last night I woke up with tears and my body was shaking and there was a lot of energy moving. And yes, some of it was mine and some of it wasn't. Majority of it wasn't. I've learned to channel it through the divine vortex I use. And at the same time, there's some emotional density that rises up through me because it needs an expression, it needs a witness, and I bear witness to it. For those of you that are healers and light workers, light leaders, I know it's not easy right now. But the less you resist, the more you allow, the easier it'll be. So through the night, my body would shake. I would let the energy move. Like it's almost like convulsing. I get that a lot. There's a lot of times in the middle of the night I'll wake up and I'll just feel this energy rising through me. And I now know how to identify if it's mine or others. When it's others, I can move it a little easier outside of my physical body, more in the energy field or in the energy vortex I work with. When it's mine, I know how to soften around it. I know how to allow it to have some space. And I always set an intention if there's anything I need to know about it to let it be felt and released and understood at the level of the heart. So it processes easier, but it's not easy. It's still challenging. I still have this dense physical form it's moving through. And then I have still my own density that's clearing. There's a lot less than there used to be, but there's still more. So for those of you that are really feeling the depth of the struggles and the pain and the suffering that's happening with humanity, I'm going to invite you right now just to place it in this beautiful energy vortex I have. You're welcome to put as much as you want there. And particularly anything that's not yours. So just ask is if there's anything that's not mine that's trying to channel through me, or anything that's not mine that I'm carrying, or anything that's not mine that I've picked up, trying to make the burden easier for others, or trying to take the responsibility, or trying to make someone else's path easier or lighter. Offer that all into the energy vortex and just allow it to have that space to rise up and clear and heal without it being processed through you. Now what's left over is yours. And your willingness to feel it and move it and express it and experience it is essential. So we're going to create some space for that. We're going to invite some energy to support that. Take some deep breaths. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. And as you exhale through the mouth, imagine you can breathe out some of that density, breathe out some of that leftovers. Just knowing that as you clear within your own body, within your own mind, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically, you're actually serving all of humanity. As a healer and a light worker, I often will find myself in the middle of the night doing some soul travel, and I'll kind of be half awake and half asleep and not realize I'm actually working with one of my clients or working with one of my members. Often, sometimes I even find myself just randomly working with people I don't even know. It's an interesting experience. And at the same time, there's a real peace and a real certainty about it when my human mind becomes aware of what my soul is doing. I tend to spend a lot of time on healing myself and others. It's very clear to me that that's why I'm here. To inspire and empower healing in self and others. And to help people remember the truth of who they are, which is we are whole and complete, and we actually don't need healing. And it's only because our minds are not in alignment with that I meet people at that level where I provide healing. I meet them in their humanness and provide the experience that they need. That's what allows me to join with others, because I can feel and sense and know the truth, and I can feel and sense and understand their blocks and the density and their fear of holding on to that. So the reason I can actually meet people in that space, the reason I can meet you in your wounds and help you shift them, is because my gift allows me to really feel them at the depth that you're feeling them. And I'm able to help move them. Now, the beautiful thing is, because the truth of it is we're all one, we're all connected, all of us, everything. And I can meet you in that oneness and help you heal and clear. Because in a way, I'm connected to it as well. So I may call myself a healer or a light worker, and those are just words that we use in the world to help understand part of what I do, but I can't really capture what I do. I can't even articulate what I do. I've always had challenges doing that. But essentially what I'm doing is meeting you in that state of oneness and shining light on what needs to heal, and then inviting you to let me help you clear it. So in your willingness to heal, and in your willingness to say yes to receive healing, we can meet in that space, and healing is possible. And really all we're doing is removing the block to the truth, which is you're whole and complete, just as you are. That's the beauty. That's the gift, is to remember the truth. For all of us to remember the truth of who we are. That's living oneness. That's life by divine. That's a gift for humanity. That's a gift for every single one of us. That's a gift for our planet and beyond. So my prayer for you today and always is for you to remember the truth of who you are. To be willing to remove all blocks to love, to be willing to heal to the depth of your ability. And some of it you'll be able to do on your own, and other times you will reach out and take someone else's hand. Someone who's walked through that depth of healing, someone who's created a bridge and can show you the path. Someone who can shine light on your blind spots. Someone who can give you a piece of the puzzle. We're not meant to do this alone. And as I explained in the last couple weeks episodes around the ego game of opposites and the ego mind hacks, we have two teachers in our mind. The teacher of love, which is spirit. The spirit within us works on every level, works very powerfully at the level of the mind. to help us remember the truth of who we are. That's the divinity within us. It's within each of us. We're all from that same source. And when we allow our personalities to be animated from that divine source, letting our spirit allow our personality to be expressed, then we are coming from love as love and extending love. The second teacher that we all have is ego. Ego is the teacher of fear, a master teacher of fear. And you can see in the world right now, people's egos are rearing up and standing in defense, defending themselves, defending others, defending their beliefs, defending what they think they know in their heads. And there's the obvious egos, the egos that are really puffing up their peacock feathers and standing in defense and fighting to be right. And some of them are actually acting out in violent ways. That's fear. And fear has a wide range of how it expresses itself. And it can express itself as helplessness and hopelessness, or it can express itself as violence and rage and anger. It has a whole scope of range of expression. We all have fear. We all have that ego in our mind, trying to keep us safe and protected and playing small. Or it's trying to charge and lead a fight. That fight to be right. The fight to prove others wrong. But as long as we're fighting to be right, we will always feel wrong. The more challenging ego to face is the spiritual ego, the one that shows up pretending to be love. But there's an element of superiority there. There's an element of superior, inferior. There's an element of better than, I'm awake, you're asleep. There's that, it's an interesting ego to encounter. And it's still fear. And the spiritual ego can do just as much harm as the obvious ego. The ego is a clever shift changer. It's a clever master of many disguises. And it's all fear in disguise. The anger, the violence is rooted in fear. All of it is fear in disguise. So now that we have an understanding of some of what's going on in the world, my prayer and intention for you is that you go inward and pause and breathe and be here now to receive the healing that you're meant to receive. Just say yes to receive that purifying, cleansing energy. I'm going to work with 3 different energies. One energy is going to rise up through you, and it's going to rise up through all 5 bodies, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. And it's going to cross all dimensions, all timelines, all generations, all lives, past and current for you. If you're willing to receive this healing energy, say yes. That energy is going to rise up You're going to feel a rising up and flushing through. You may or may not feel it. That's okay. It's still happening. Just say yes. And then I'm going to invite a divinity vortex to wash, cleanse, and purify, flush and clear. We're going to ask that all density, all darkness, all fear, all heaviness, all leftovers, as much as possible in this moment, anything and all that is ready to be healed and cleared, that it rise up for healing. If you're willing to receive that, say yes. And as we allow that energy to soften, your body might shake, you might feel energy moving, you might feel jitteriness. Just let it all be. There may be emotions that rise up. Any collective energy we're placing outside of your field to be processed. And then I'm just bringing in the light of universal consciousness, so oneness consciousness. So we're going to bring that down, and it's going to hit and expand out. I'm going to hit in several different areas of your body. Just say yes to receive. And we're going to go into the mind and do that at least 3 times. So it's going to, for some of you that are sensitive, it's going to feel a little funny. If you're getting nauseous or dizzy, just ask it to back off a little bit. But that's part of the clearing and cleansing. There we go. So letting some of that energy rise up through the top of your head. Some of the energy will go down through the body as well. And then other energy will just find the path of least resistance, the path that it can just find its way out the easiest. And again, some of that energy is emotional energy that needs to be expressed, creating space for any tears, any anger or anything, any feelings to rise up. Create space for them right now in this moment. And just say yes. Yes to the healing. And as we're going to continue to allow that energy to move, place your hand on your heart. And just an openness to receive the blessing, to receive this beautiful light. To say yes to allow your divinity to expand and rise within you, to allow love to rise and expand within you. And imagine yourself as a lighthouse standing solid in the rocks. And you have all of the elements all around you. You're standing solid, deeply rooted in the light of the earth. And you're standing solid and the waves are crashing and the wind is blowing and the sun and the light is shining. So you've got all 4 elements and you are standing solid, unshakable. This beacon of light, this beam of love, extending out into the world from you, through you, as the divinity. And join me in a prayer for all of those who are still asleep. Join me in a prayer for all of those who are confused and in fear and projecting. And we're going to shine light on them. We're going to shine the light of compassion and love. And our prayer is that they come to see the light, that they receive the love that's coming through them, to them, for them. That they awaken to the truth of who they are, that they see and know and feel and express all of the density that is not the truth of who they are, and create space for their truth to rise up within them and expand on all levels, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. May they receive the healing now. May they awaken now. May they remember the truth of who they are. May they suddenly see a different perspective and begin to look through a lens of love instead of looking at the world through a lens of fear. May they learn to forgive themselves, forgive their pain, their wounds, their trauma, so that they can remember the truth of who they are. And as you bring your awareness back to your own heart, still feeling that connection to your deep heart space, invite your connection to your source to expand. Invite your connection to spirit, to God, to the universe. Let it expand into your heart. Let it soften all density. Let it transmute all fear. Let it shift your mind and help you remember, so that you can embrace your humanness and embody your divinity as deeply as possible in this moment and in every moment that follows. And so it is. Amen. I invite you to take this blessing, receive this blessing, extend this blessing, share it. Go to your favorite podcast platform and download it. You can find it on my website, heartledliving.com/radio. All the links to the podcasts are there. And if you go to your favorite podcast platform, download it, save it, keep it on your device, listen to it, and remember in those times where you are really struggling that it's there, and it's a beacon of light to help you come back home to yourself, to feel that connection to your source, to your divinity. Use this episode. Use it as the gift it's intended. And if you're inspired, share it. Share it with others. This is an essential message, and it's timely. I encourage you to continue to follow your heart, to continue to lead and let the divine work through you. My intention is to offer as many tools and resources as I possibly can to help you clear all of your blocks to love, to heal all of your density and leftovers, so that you can be a beacon of light, a messenger of love in this world. And so that you have the courage and the commitment to stand up and play the role that you're meant to play right now. No more playing small. It's not possible anymore. It's way too painful. Trust me, I've done it for a long time. And I'm even being called to level up. I'm even being called to take everything to another level and extend even more into the world. And all I can do is say yes. Say yes over and over and over again. Offer my life over to the divine and let Spirit lead me and guide me. I don't know on a human level what the grand plan is. On a soul level, I get visions, I get insights, I get pieces. Most people don't. We're kind of operating at this level of humanness. So I do my best to share some of the visions that I receive to help people manage the human experience a little bit better. And at the same time, just know that everything you need is already programmed in your heart. That the source that speaks to me is the same source that can speak through your heart. Listen, tune in, honor it, follow it. In the next couple weeks, I will be sharing more information about the ego game of opposites and the ego mind hacks. I'm going to be doing a masterclass on how to stop self-sabotage and getting into reprogramming the subconscious mind. I shared a little bit about it on an episode when it was a fresh download and a fresh thing I was working through. I've processed a lot of it in the last 2 weeks, and I will continue to process more and walk more people through this new tool. And I'm excited at the beginning of April to be able to share it with all of you. I'm doing a free healing and masterclass. So it's going to be a healing circle and masterclass. And I'm going to teach you this tool step by step. So the steps actually came in when I shared the episode. It was all fresh and I was sharing my process and my story, but I didn't really give you the clear steps. I'm definitely feeling to give you that during the masterclass so it can empower you to unwind your ego and clear all of those clever self-sabotaging viruses that the ego has going on in the background of your mind. And again, it's just another tool to help you clear and process the fear that that has been embedded and programmed into our mind for forever. Not only us individually in our lifetime, but collectively. The collective human fear is rising up to heal, and it's time for all of us to heal it fully, wholly, and completely so that we can remember the truth of who we are. I want to thank you for tuning in each week and for joining me, and I really appreciate you being here now and receiving the blessing and receiving the healing potential that this episode holds. And my prayer is that you actually keep it, download it, and use it, especially in those times where you're impacted by what's going on in the world. Remembering that meeting that fear and that worry and that anxiety and that violence and everything that's going on in the world, meeting it with fear expands fear more. So do your best to meet it with love. Allow yourself to feel the human experiences. Cry if you need to. Feel the depth of the grief and the sadness that it's creating within you. Give yourself permission to be human and feel the humanness of it, so that you can return to that space within your heart that can extend love. And we can do that with love and compassion. We can bless others, we can pray. There's many ways we can do that. And sometimes that actually even looks like inspired action. Getting up and actually going somewhere and doing something. Standing up for a cause, creating a movement. Whatever you're being called to do, it's essential that you answer that call. I want to encourage you to do that now. Not tomorrow, not the next day. Right here, right now. Start with saying yes. Just say yes and see what happens. Let your heart lead you. Spirit's got a plan. Follow the plan. I love you. I appreciate you. I honor you. I see you. I'm in awe of you and the miracle that you are. The world is ready for you. Say yes. You are ready, and the world is ready for you. Until next week, namaste.
The Heart-Led Living Intuition Academy with Sue Dumais is a unique unschooling experience designed to unwind, clear, and align your intuitive channel. And the doors are open for you now. Experience unwavering faith and deep trust in your intuition as you strengthen your connection to Source, allowing you to walk through every moment with more peace, confidence, clarity, and certainty. Experience this deep personal transformation with Sue's guidance, including the option to share what you learn as a certified intuitive coach. This is your time to unwind and reprogram your mind, to rebuild your foundation and realign with your intuitive heart. Enrollment is now open. Apply today at heartledliving.com/Intuition Academy. Again, that's heartledliving.com/Intuition Academy.
You've been listening to Life by Divine with your host, Sue Dumais. Shift your consciousness from head to heart and enliven your soul as you discover how to lead with your heart and live your own life by divine. Join Sue in the growing global Heart-Led Living community at heartledliving.com. That is heart, L-E-D, living.com.